Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Ron Amlin from SBM St. Louis, and we are honored today to have Mary Kutheis with us. And Mary is not only a best-selling author, I'll go ahead and say that. She
That's
is
good.
a business coach, and she works with business owners, leaders, and teams who want to get more of the right things done with less turmoil and stress. And she's also the author of this book. I've got it here, Making Minutes Matter. And Mary, you can always tell when a book is good because, like, do you see all the writing I've written here in the book? Like when I have a book that I don't like, I never write in it. When I have a book that I write all these little things in here, all these little
I
tips and
I
strategies.
I love a beat up book. It's the best.
It is definitely. So thank you for being with us today. And why don't we start out? Tell me about how you help business owners and business leaders, and how you kind of got into that position.
Okay. 20 years ago, I started my own company when I became disenchanted, if you will, about big business. I'd been in that for 17, 18 years, and I knew that I could have more and a more far reaching impact by working from the outside. So I'm a certified professional coach, and I work primarily with small business owners. And how I help them is that small business owners are running successful companies and have the skills to do so. What they might not have, the second set of vital skills that they need are leadership skills. And I help those owners with the evolution from owner to leader. And many already have a good foundation for leadership, but they want to kick things up a notch. So we work in three primary areas. Um, the first is effective priorities, what some might call time management. The second is emotional intelligence, which accounts for 90% of the difference between average and superior leaders. And the third is exceptional teams, because that's your people. And everyone on your team is all the people in your organization are your team. And
Right, right.
everybody needs to be pulling in the same direction collaboratively. I call that the E3 shift, that evolution from owner to leader.
Perfect, perfect. Well, let's talk about the book, Making Minutes Matter.
Okay.
Tell me why you wrote the book, and tell me a little bit about the objectives that you wanted to get across to people with the book.
Okay. The subtitle is Your Guide to Being Content with How You Spend Your Time. And that part of it was so important to me because contentment is a big piece of it. And we'll talk about that later. But time isn't slowing down. It's speeding up. Even in these days of COVID, I can't believe we've been doing this for 6 months already, and it's just speeding by. Everybody gets the same 1,440 minutes a day, and it's up to us to choose how to use them. It's a tragedy, I believe, especially for business owners, if we waste them worrying about what we haven't done or what what we're not doing. So the most mentally healthy people have time for both personal and professional pursuits, but that can be really challenging for business owners because they're always thinking business. The book is about how to make choices, how to focus, manage stress, move past the occasional bout of procrastination, and everything in that realm, because the best time management tool is a human with the right skills. So my book is my effort to spread an important message to as many people as possible because I don't have an interest. I'm a one-person business and I don't have an interest in scaling it to add other coaches. So I can only work with so many people at one time. And the book is my way to spread the message a little wider.
Well, I love that. And making minutes matter. I mean, I've been following business owners for probably 25 years. And, there's so much information out there about marketing tools and how to do this or how to be a better leader. But very few people are even talking about how to make your minutes matter and how to use your time efficiently. And I think that time management is something that every business owner needs help with.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I think one of the contrarian viewpoints, I suppose, in the book is that I want people to remember that the minutes that you're not working also matter. That if you want to take some time off because you're just completely burned out and you need an afternoon playing golf or just sitting reading, that those minutes matter too. It's not about constant productivity unless people consider a little bit of time off productive.
Right, right. Oh, definitely. Okay, so with all that in mind, and we're thinking about making our minutes matter. What are the 5 tips or points for people to keep in mind when they're looking at their time management and making their minutes matter?
Okay, I've got 5 for you, and I hope that they're a little bit of a twist on what people might, be used to hearing, time blocking and all that kind of thing, and only looking at your email twice a day. I'm not going to talk
Right,
about
right.
any of those. First of all, it's effectively managing priorities, and it's truly not about time management. It's about effectively prioritizing what you choose to focus on, maybe 3 projects or 3 tasks for that day or that period. I mean, it's a constant effort of making choices that you feel good about, and then deciding among those things that you've chosen, those 3 tasks that you have for your morning, which one gets the first attention. Because a solid method for making those choices is really important. And there's not enough time for me to get on my soapbox about what the opposite of that prioritization is, which is multitasking, and how ineffective and actually impossible multitasking is.
Right, right.
The second is being crystal clear about your core values. And some people will think, that's a trendy buzzword. It's really not. Your core values impact every single decision that you make, whether you realize it or not. And when I've worked with business owners, taking them through this process, many have already done it with, as a marketing, as kind of a business strategy and a marketing effort. But it's a little bit different, the process that we do. And when they come up with what they are, sometimes there's this light bulb moment where they say, gosh, now I see why I made that decision or why this other decision was so hard. It wasn't in alignment with my core values. And so that's critical. And when I talk about how you make the choices about how you prioritize, in some part, you make them based on where your core values are. The third is building mental muscle. And that is the ability to focus is constantly tested, especially right now when things are getting faster and faster and faster, and there's more things that are vying for our attention. It pays off both mentally and profitably to be able to have this mental muscle, be able to control how we think. And when you think about it, who do you admire more? The successful person who's always frantic, running around like their hair's on fire, or the successful person who's kind of chill, always seems like they have it together? And which person do you want to be? And one of the main aspects of that is who has more mental muscle, who's controlled by all the craziness, and who's controlling the craziness. The fourth is developing or improving your emotional intelligence. And you might think, why in the world would emotional intelligence affect time? Well, the thing is, the amount of time lost due to miscommunication or poor collaboration is staggering. And as they say, time is money. So how you see yourself, how you present yourself, how you interact with others, how you make decisions, how you problem solve, and how you manage stress are all parts of emotional intelligence, also called EQ. So those all impact time. So improvements in your emotional intelligence are absolutely going to be improvements in how you use your time. And finally, going back to that word that gets people kind of bristled up sometimes, and that's finding contentment. And we are all really good at striving, and at least most small business owners are, because we have to be, because we're trying to make this thing work, and we're trying to grow, and we're trying to be as good a business as we can possibly be. So we're good at the striving. But many people think that contentment is the same thing as complacence, and it absolutely is not. And contentment is absent the feeling that you should be working when you're with your family, or you should be with your family when you're working on the weekend. A moment of contentment is when you've made progress on a project, you've buckled down and focused for an hour and got some stuff done, you get a moment of contentment. Or it's the steps toward whatever you're trying to achieve, the big win, the little steps along the way that are these small wins, or where you get pieces of contentment. So managing your time is also thinking about, what have I done really well? And how should I just take a second to say, yeah, that was good. I feel pretty good about where I went there.
Yeah. Those are great points. Definitely. Are there things that I mean, actions that people can take? I mean, I know when I worked with you in the past, one of the things that you had me do was have all my appointments on one given day, and I did that, and it really was very freeing for me because I had appointments I was making appointments on Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays and driving places and spending so many times in the car, and then I finally made my appointments on Thursdays at Panera Bread, at a certain Panera Bread. And I, it freed up so much of my time, and it was really, that one simple thing, had a big impact on just my weekly routine. Are there other things that you've kind of guided people to do that would help them kind of free up some time to find that balance in their life?
Yes, it certainly have. I'm so glad to hear that works. It's one of those things, especially for a guy like you. You're helping a lot of people. A lot of people want to pick your brain, as they say, and so you could end up driving from place to place, and all that time spent in the car eats up a lot of time. But now that people aren't going as many places, a lot of people have a little more found time, so that's kind of interesting. There's a few things that I warn people away from. Time blocking is a really big. There's a really big thing that people like to do, where they block off their entire week in blocks of time for things that they're going to do. And the challenge with that is nobody sticks to it that way, because our work is too fluid. There are too many changes. There are too many things that come up. And so we block off time to do something. If everything is blocked off and there's not very many empty spaces, we tend not to follow any of it. So use time blocking really sparingly. If you need to do a deep dive on a proposal, or you need to sit down and make sales calls, those are good things to time block for, that are maybe things that you don't even care to do, the things that you might procrastinate. Time blocking those and putting them on your calendar, really good plan, because you're more likely to treat those like an appointment if there's few of them, and if you understand the importance that you yourself put on it by treating it like an appointment on your calendar. So time block, but do it in very small pieces. The other thing is, I love the idea of using a timer. And I talk about this in the book, that it goes back to when I was a little kid. I was the youngest of 5. And my mom, who had a great sense of humor, we used to have chores that we had to do. And she would play a game that she called Beat the Clock or Beat the Kid. And now, fairness, she never did beat us, but it was one of those deals where the timer was going, the kitchen timer was ticking, and you didn't want to hear that thing ding without having your stuff done. So I think as grown-ups, we can do that too. Have a timer when you really need to buckle down and focus. Set a timer for 15, 20 minutes and use a kitchen timer. Don't use the timer on your phone, because as soon as you look at your phone to set the timer, you're off. You're looking at email, you're checking up texts, right, all those kind of things. So use a kitchen timer, set it for 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever you can. Focus like a laser beam. And when that bell goes off, move on to something else if you like, or another chunk of time. But it's small. You talked about the change that you made, with how that one small change you made that made an impact. When I'm working with my clients, sometimes they'll say, gosh, it seems like these commitments that I'm set, that we're agreeing that person will do are so small. How is this going to move me forward? Well, that's the thing. The big, huge commitments that people make at the beginning of the year, New Year's resolutions, how many of them don't happen? And it's because they're huge. What is something really small, seemingly almost unimportant, that you can do to get just a little bit better today? And maybe something a little bit better next week, because those things add up. And it doesn't have to be these monumental changes that you make to get to see the changes that you want to see.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. I say no a lot too, which doesn't make a lot of people happy with me, but it does help me stay focused and disciplined on what I have to get done. And saying no is tough.
That's really great, and so many people have a problem with it because they want to be helpful. They want to do what people ask them to do, but it's so interesting because going back to that core values thing. Once you know what your core values are, the no is a little bit easier. And I think, have you felt more comfortable with it over time? Was it hard at first, and now you feel more comfortable?
Yeah, I do. There's still some guilt there. In fact, someone asked me to do something a couple months ago, and it was going to be a huge time commitment, and I still feel bad for saying no. But we have a lot going on here, and I just couldn't. I couldn't take the time to do that because if I would have done that, then I would have had to take time away from my family at night, or other things would have suffered, but I still feel bad about it. But yeah, but you have to do those things. You have to say no sometimes because you can't take in all these opportunities that come to you.
You can't, and it's interesting because on a micro level. One of the reasons why people have such a hard time choosing is because they're essentially saying no to themselves. It's when you choose to do this, you're choosing not to do something else. And if you come up with this really cool list of all these great things you're going to do, when you say, I'm going to do this, you're saying, I'm not going to do that. And people have a hard time. We want to do everything. We're ambitious. So if you get better at saying no to other people, you'll probably get better at saying no to yourself as well.
Well, thank you, Mary Kutheis, for joining us today. Now, I got the book again. How can we get a hold of the book, and how can we reach you?
Terrific. My website is mckcoaching.com. There's a link to get the book there. There's also a ton of resources. I just started a YouTube channel, so there's some really short videos to give tips. But if you head to the website, there's a way to contact me there. But there's also a ton of information for people to kick things up a notch in terms of what I was talking about, and particularly around leadership skills.
Well, perfect. Well, thank you very much. Again, we appreciate you joining us today, and have a great day.
Thanks so much, Ron. Appreciate being here.